Okay, so this is the kind of an introduction video to the property. We're looking at the map for this right now. This is the 10-acre tract, direct frontage on the Niagara River, downriver from Bennett Springs State Park in Dallas County, Missouri. So one of the few sections of river in Missouri or in the nation for that matter where you can actually fish for rainbow trout and brown trout. Um, from the property, as well as bass and some other species. But uh, the the trout fishing is pretty darn cool. Let's see. Let's start down here at the river. So this is a Google base map, and sometimes these maps are a little bit old. This one actually looks fairly recent because I recall seeing this pile of logs in the meadow actually. So this is pretty recent. This property, as well as the other tracks out here, had some logging done within the last year or so. Obviously not clear cut. You can see all the timber that's remaining even on this, and you'll see that in the drone video and the ground video. But there were some uh, very large commercial size white oak trees that were more or less, I guess, declining in health. They were as old as they were going to be, and they were starting to head downhill, I guess. So those were removed. Um, but this is a great way to get an overview of the property. Let's do this. Let's start over here on the east side. So this is Marigold Drive. So you can pull in there. These pink lines represent the road easements. So we've got this upper field here, which is easily wide enough to build any kind of house you want and have a huge yard. Um, this is all level. As you're moving west, this part slopes down fairly steeply, and then this bottom area is completely level as well. And then you hit the tree line as you get to the water, and this turns into kind of a gravel sand mixture. And then you've got this direct frontage. It's got about 350 feet of direct frontage on the Niagara River. Let's zoom out one time. So it actually has direct frontage on Marigold Drive on the east side. Um, and then you're welcome to create your own trail if you wanted to down this hillside, but there is an existing road which goes down the hill and cuts back over and across the property. So you can actually drive down to the bottom without any hassle, just as it is. So we've been down there with a truck and a trailer, no problem there. Um, this is just an old random fence line. So where are we here? So this is actually power here, and there is an easement along the east part for the power and the phone, and then there is an easement on both sides of these existing roadways for access for you and the other property owners, as well as power. So if you wanted power down here, you could do so. Now this is a beautiful field. While you could potentially build here, you would have to elevate your structure because this entire field is going to be within the 100-year floodplain. As you get to the hillside, it does rise up. So, I mean, almost immediately you're out of the floodplain in the hillside. And then once you get to the top and it levels out, of course, this is all completely high and dry. And although this does look somewhat long and thin, um, because this is a huge tract, this is actually a lot wider than it seems. Let's pull up on map right. We've got a measure function. So here toward the edge of the field, we're looking at about 180 feet roughly. So that's wider than a standard building lot. Um, I mean, yeah, you could build absolutely anything you want for the most part. And if you look at the listing, you'll see that we'll have one explanatory photo that has multiple kind of footprints for different foundation sizes. So just to give you an idea of, even though it looks long and thin, it is long, but it is not thin. I mean, you've got a lot of room here. So amazing property. Let's throw the topo map on. So this pretty much indicates what we've already shown. Is it's flat here on the east side. This is pretty steep here, this hillside, but that does give you the option, if you wanted to build here at the start of the hillside or even partway down, you're going to have that awesome view of the river valley. You'll have to clear out some of the smaller trees, I'm sure, to really get the view you want. But It's pretty darn unique to have a property that gives you all these different options and the direct access to the river. And this is not just your standard um, normal named river. I mean, any river in the Ozarks is fantastic, any fishable river. But this is one of the very few sections of water in Missouri where you can actually catch rainbow trout and brown trout. They stock them at Bennett Springs. There's about a 12-mile stretch of water downstream from Bennett Springs State Park where you can catch trout, and this is directly in that. So I mean, people come from all over the nation to trout fish in these waters. Very popular. Um, in the summertime, I mean, this area is just kind of jumping. It's really nice, really active. I don't know. I was trying to get the Google map again. Well, let's try. There we go. Okay. So directly across the property, you've got a couple smaller um, kind of canoe and resort type places. Now, if we do really quickly here, I'm trying to hurry because I know that if you're like me, you might not have a huge attention span for these videos. I'm trying to get the layer for public land. There we go. Because across the river and then upriver about a quarter mile, we've got the Barclay Conservation area, which is a state conservation area. There's some really good access points right here to the water. Super popular if you want to do a really fun float, like with your kids or with young kids, or anybody that doesn't want a 2 or 3 or 6 hour float. A really fun one, just to say you've done it, is to have someone drop you off right here. I mean, you can practically pull up to the water, toss your canoe or your kayak or your tube in, and you can float down just about a mile, probably, I don't know, 20-minute float, maybe 30-minute float, and you can take out directly on your property. So pretty cool. I mean, you can have someone drop you off while you're floating down. They're driving around, and they can be waiting for you there while you're pulling your tube or your kayak out of the water onto your own property. So just kind of a dream property. I mean, recreational home site. It's all there. We've got some minor covenants in place that are going to protect your investment on these deals. So it's also pretty cool to be in Dallas County, which doesn't have any zoning, so you can actually build your own house. As far as I know, you're not required to get any kind of special permits or anything. Definitely a good idea to have a professional do some of that stuff, like the electrical and the plumbing. But um, one of the covenants is got to have a 600 square foot minimum foundation, which is not very restrictive, really, but it keeps people from living in portable buildings or whatnot, which is certainly fine, but it's not fine on these properties. So take a look at the website. InstantAcres.com is where you can go to see if this tract is still available. Um, we've got it priced super low because we haven't done any kind of cleanup on it. We haven't done any kind of special access points on the water. We have a lot of projects right now, so you'll see that it's at a reduced price compared to where it would be in the summertime. Right now we have wintertime drone video, wintertime pictures, everything with the leaves off the trees, and it's still breathtaking, but it doesn't compare to how it's going to look this summer. So get it at a reduced price and come and use it immediately, and come and fish for trout this summer or bass. And as long as we're here and people are still watching, we'll do a street map, although it's not coming out the way I want it to. I was hoping to see the roads here. Well, let's see if it at least shows the nearby towns. And it may not. Well, okay, anyway, this is Bennett Springs State Park and the trout hatchery. It's showing all the conservation land. And actually down here is the town of Lebanon. So you just take Highway 64 to the west, go north on Marigold Drive just before you cross the bridge over the Nangua, and go to the north on Marigold all the way to the property. Super cool. InstantAcres.com if you have any questions. Definitely check out the listing page. We have a very limited number of tracks with direct frontage on the Nangua. It has taken us, 3 years to get this deal to come together, but 15 years to find anything this quality on a river like this in the Ozarks. So check it out, InstantAcres.com. Low down payments, owner financing, and we would love to speak with you. about this property or any property at all, but this one in particular, super nice riverfront tract.